characteristics whatsoever. What they mean by comparing it to an Islay Scotch is that salt water that is so much part of an Islay Scotch as well. That briny seaweed, all of that is, that's the air that their water supply is from on Islay, of course, and all the peat and everything that's growing up around is breathing in all that saltwater air, and that's just part of the life of that Scotch. And it's just really interesting. This ocean aged at sea is really just like an interesting balanced marriage. Okay, finally, we're going to conclude with the Groth Reserve cask finish. I just cannot get past just nosing it. It's just wonderful. There's so much going on. I could sit here and just nose this for the next 10 minutes and pick out all the wonderful aromas. But that dark, you take a bourbon and you enhance the dark fruits, and that's what this is. Wow. It's really interesting. When you go through and do these, it's, some companies just sell a concept, and after doing this little experiment with these four, Jefferson's is certainly not, you cannot just say that they're just doing clever marketing, because the result is honestly in these. That ocean aged at sea clearly has elements of the sea. It's undeniable. It's undoubtedly there. It's undeniable. But the same goes for the reserve cask finish. When it initially hits the tongue and enters your mouth, the brain is almost like a little confused. Are you drinking bourbon or are you drinking wine? And I'm not kidding. It is fantastic. A very sophisticated experiment here. Definitely a drink for a connoisseur. I would enjoy this in small sips. And one of the things that's interesting is usually when you're making cocktails, you kind of avoid going for the high end, particular bourbon. I use the example of Woodford. You want to make a cocktail with Woodford, do it with Woodford, not Woodford Double Oaked. You should be enjoying the Woodford Double Oaked for what it is. And while you need to enjoy the reserve cask finish for what it is, one of the things that enters my mind is just, boy, this would you'd hate to use something that's probably so expensive and unique in a cocktail, but boy, this would certainly take a regular bourbon or cocktail and just absolutely blow it away with how unique that it would become by making it with this. So it's probably something I'll try at some point. But certainly this should be enjoyed and appreciated for what it is, because it really, truly is something very unique. And all these were very good, and and they did a fantastic job. So I think this was a really fun podcast for me to celebrate National Bourbon Day. If you've never tried Jefferson's, get out there and try it. Hopefully this podcast enlightened you about 4 of the bourbons in their line. While I'm on the website, let's just see here real quick. Now, there's definitely a few others that they have. There's one called the Jefferson's Presidential Select, which I've never had. They do have a rye whiskey. Then they have a Jefferson's Wood Experiment, Jefferson's Chef's Collaboration, and then this is one that's neat. I almost want to think that this is called the Esquire and Jefferson's Barrel Aged Manhattan. And this is supposedly basically a ready-to-go Manhattan out of the bottle. And I've had other things similar to this, not necessarily a Manhattan, where companies make like a ready-to-go mixed drink, and they always let me down. So I've seen this. I've kind of poo-pooed the idea of it. But after this little experiment, and I just admitted and said that, I'm giving credit to Jefferson's for being more than just clever marketing. I'm willing now to go into and try that if I ever come across that barrel-aged Manhattan with an open mind. Maybe if they do that just as good as they've done these experiments, then maybe that's something to have a little faith and trust in. So you can learn more about all these bourbons at jeffersonsbourbon.com. I hope this podcast enlightened you about at least these 4 bourbons that maybe you will, maybe you've had some or none, but maybe you want to try one of the other ones that I mentioned here. And visit realityfred.com, find the podcast there, and certainly leave a comment. What are your thoughts? Which of these have you had or would like to have? Let us know what you think. If your experience is similar or different to mine, I'd love to hear from you. So thanks again for tuning in to Reality Fred Podcast. And like I said, we have a few more podcasts already recorded in the queue. We're just still doing the post-production, but we'll have some really interesting topics coming to you soon. Thanks again, and as they say in Ireland, slánja.